your hosts, Keith and Sheila Hittner.
Hey, welcome to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. 651-775-9194.
Good thing I'm listening.
Or if you wanted to call our loan officer, you can call the other number, 651-775-9194. That is the Healthy Home
Yeah, I thought you were
hotline.
joking at first.
Yeah,
or seeing if
no,
I was listening.
we just finished recording the Real Estate Chalk Talk show, so I've got the money talk on my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talk about the 4 pillars of a healthy home here on this program. We talk about your house, we talk about the ecosystem, we talk about your physical body, and we talk about your emotional and spiritual well-being. And I want you to remember that it's young living or assisted living. You can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts with you, and it begins right now with the lovely and talented Sheila.
Yeah, it seems like we've been on vacation for a while, but we actually did take some time off and went to the Young Living Convention in Orlando, and great information from the scientist, which is something that I never really thought I would get into, but I love hearing from the scientists, and they really touched a lot on the chemicals in perfumes and colognes, and that we're starting to attack, and replace a lot of things. But it seems like the fragrance side of it needs to be more talked about. And so there's a Wild Notes, which is a toxic-free perfume and cologne, and they went over the type of alcohol that's in normal perfumes and colognes and the damage that does, and versus the sugar alcohol that is in this.
I thought sugar was evil.
Well, when you intake, yes, it is, but not when you
Make it into alcohol.
Right, make it into alcohol and then use it in the.
You don't drink it.
Right.
You could drink it. Wouldn't
hurt
hurt
you. But you wouldn't want to drink your perfume and cologne.
Yeah, that'd be an expensive shot.
That would be an expensive shot. Yes, it would. And then they talked a lot about the Balance and Burn, which is a newer product that came out that part of it supports your own GLP-1 naturally to wake up and work again. And then the other piece of it is to work on the digestive system. The digestive system is what runs the body, right? It's the second brain. And so a lot of stories around that and education on that. And then the new Master Cellular Nutrition, which you've heard some information on some of the previous shows about the zombie cells in the body.
Okay.
So do you want to touch on the zombie cells?
Well, zombie cells, essentially, from what I gathered from the lecture, was your cells naturally split and replicate and duplicate as your body, goes through its healing process and its natural regenerative process. After a time, just like making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, pretty soon it just isn't a good copy anymore, and they wear out. Well, sometimes, the body is supposed to take that worn out cell and expel it through the systems of the body to get rid of it. Sometimes these things, they get a little bit whacked out and they don't get out. They still kind of linger around in the body. They don't really perform any functions. They're just kind of hanging out. And these cells can turn into what we know as cancer, or a cell that is no longer functioning normally. So part of the process then that these natural ingredients do is help eliminate those things. It helps the body to naturally take those cells, those
open up the pathways and move those through
to move them out and get them out, so that you stay young and vibrant looking like myself.
Okay, yep. Anyway, so they talked a lot about that. They made science fun, which was great. We got a little pickleball in while we were there, and we're back at it. And so the ourhealthyhomes.com events tab has the schedule of what we're upcoming, and I'm adding to that as we go. You are more than welcome. Monday, which is the 27th, is Wellness Q&A. So that is an opportunity to come to the house, and we sit around. Christy is a nurse. I'm a holistic health coach. So together we can sit down, listen to what your questions are, and have a way to guide you And sometimes we can help you with some basic things, and sometimes we need to refer you to somebody with more education. But with Christy being a nurse and me being a holistic health coach, we've got an opportunity to help you get started and understand some of the issues that you're having.
And that is one of the favorite things that happens at the house too, because it's a dialogue. And so you know how it is. You can sit in front of a lecture and listen to someone throw up on you about information. You retain about 3% of it. But once someone asks a question, and then the response to that specific question is, and then people are like, oh yeah, I was wondering about that too. And then all of a sudden there's a spin-off question, and now you've got some conversation going on about that. And so the retention of the information is so much better.
We also have the ITOVI scan, which scans your body and tells you what your body needs support with today and what's the top priority. And so that helps to give us a direction also on, what essential oils or what supplements or something that you might want to get started with to deal with whatever it is.
It makes that whole
issue.
Conversation more relevant to you because it's specific to you.
To you, right, yes. And then Thursday, August 6th is a chat on how to get your products paid for. And so there's it's about learning how to have a conversation about basically the products that you love, right? So learn how to share what you're already loving. And we look at that as blessing people with something that they know nothing about that could help them move that healthy peg forward in their life and the life of their family and the life of their pets and so forth. I mean, it's changed our lives. I can't, I think back and I don't know if I'd be here, honestly. And so it's not, how do I do sales, that kind of thing. It's really learning to share, about something that you love. You share about that, Ann Taylor, I don't know if she's still around, but clothes, pizzas, movies, things like that.
It's anything. I've owned a bunch of businesses over the years, and our businesses have always been built by referral. Do a good job.
Yep.
And so if I have pizza or barbecue, because we used to own some barbecue restaurants, so when people came in and bought food from us and ate at the restaurant and they loved the barbecue, we asked them, tell all your friends, come back with your friends, because wouldn't you want to share that good news with somebody? When you go to a movie and you love the movie, you come home, you talk about the movie and how great that movie was and all that. This is no different. I use this essential oil as cologne, or I use the cologne. I love the smell. People ask about the smell. They want to know, well, where'd you get that?
Everybody says I smell so good. Somebody smells wherever I'm at, right? They're like, somebody smells good in here.
So it's that kind of thing. I love longevity. I love the longevity conversation. And talking about that, I want to live to be 120 years old and I want to still be working on my last day. On the way out, though, I have to pry this pencil out of my cold dead hands. But
that's what we want.
I just want to keep going because I love what I do.
Right.
And I want to be able to continue to do it.
Yep.
And enjoy it and play pickleball and do this, play with the kids, play with the grandkids, do all of that kind of stuff. And longevity is the key.
Yes.
And
unfortunately, in this world that we live in, you do need some supplements.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the reality of it. We're not getting the nutrients and all of the things that we need from our foods anymore. And I could go down, a long rabbit hole on that. But check the website. We've got Small Steps, Big Changes on Monday, August 17th. So that is Wellness Prevention Night. So, it is overwhelming to people, especially if you've seen the Plastic Detox documentary that just came out. You know nothing about natural remedies or anything about toxic chemicals and that kind of thing. It'll blow your mind and you'll be so troubled and you'll be like, I don't even know where to start. And that's me and my team. That's why we put our energy into these home meetings, is because we want to be able to just bless you and help you with these changes because they've changed our life. And it's so busy out there in the world that you need to come in and really just get some education and somebody that really cares and wants to walk you through it.
That's right. When we come back from break, we're going to speak with Jerri and Diane about the National Health Freedom Action and Coalition. Find out what that's all about. Yeah, it's a lot of words. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. That's the Healthy Home Hotline. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, the 4 pillars of a healthy home. It's young living or assisted living. You can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts
in your body.
With you, and it starts right now with Jerri and Diane, National Health Freedom Action and Coalition. Okay, explain to me what that is.
The listeners.
Who's gonna?
There you go. She's the president of one of them.
Okay, so tell me, which one are you the president of?
National Health Freedom Action.
Okay, so what is that?
Well, it's an organization that is working to ensure that all people can have access to the healing practitioners that they want,
okay,
the healing products, the information that they need on their healing journey. And there have been so many blocks to people having access to those kinds of healing information and
natural healing,
healing, holistic healing. And so we started to see those blocks in action and preventing people from practicing and offering their services.
Explain blocks and barriers. Explain that.
Well, for me, it started around 1990 something when I was a homeopath.
Okay.
I was a nurse originally. Then I became a homeopath.
All right.
I knew that there are laws that say that you can't practice medicine without a license. And practicing medicine is defined as anything anybody offers or undertakes to prevent, diagnose, treat, or ameliorate in any way, any disease, infirmity, deformity, defect of any person. And so, offering a person vitamin C or chicken soup or, could be defined as practicing medicine. And we knew that.
What? Really?
Yeah, it could be.
That's homeopathic phobia.
No, it's real.
I will in just a second.
Okay.
Yeah. But for me, my introduction was when a naturopath here in Minnesota was charged with practicing medicine without a license.
When was that?
That was in 1995
or
so. She hadn't harmed any of her clients. None of her clients had complained. But the medical board decided to charge her because these laws exist and they could do that.
The medical board charged her.
Yeah.
So protecting their own.
And Diane, maybe you want to talk. Diane was introduced to this whole concept before I was.
I want to go back to homeopath. So you don't do that anymore?
Oh, I do. I mean, I've kind of retired.
Okay.
I've continued to be a homeopath. But at that time in the 1990s, I was worried that there could be a knock on my door and say, we know you're practicing medicine without a license.
Oh, that's right, because you were doing the homeopath at that time.
Yeah.
Explain this if you can, because the University of Minnesota has a pretty large program teaching homeopathics and natural medicine and all that stuff. So there's a dichotomy there between what's being taught at the university as an optional pathway versus what's allowed to be put into practice. Where is that disconnect, or how is that?
Well,
work?
at that time, there were these laws in existence in every state, pretty much, saying you can't practice medicine without a license. A lot of people were practicing homeopathy or herbal medicine or essential oils, aromatherapy, naturopaths. And a lot of times they were allowed, nobody bothered them. But then we knew that across the country there were all these cases of people who were being prosecuted and fined. And so that was enough to kind of keep everything underground. People were afraid to advertise, have a website, speak freely.
Yes.
And so, and then in Minnesota, we actually had a case of a person being prosecuted. Prior to, that was Helen Healy, a wonderful naturopath.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Prior to that, Diane was called, Diane's an attorney.
Okay.
She was called to look into a case of a farmer. And maybe, Diane, you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's how I got kind of involved in the legal part of it.
Okay.
In St. James, Minnesota, there was a farmer who had cured Congressman Bedell of cancer and Lyme's disease. And he used his dairy cow colostrum to do the cure, and he had a procedure to hyperimmune his cholesterol. And so he got criminally charged, not by the medical board, but he was criminally charged for fraud and practice of medicine without a license. And I was a relatively new attorney, and the public defender down there asked me to join the case because I had been a Lamaze childbirth educator and a holistic health person before I became an attorney. I had a medical technology background, and they wanted me to read the files of the cured people. So I started reading these files, and I went, how could a farmer, I was raised on a farm, how could a farmer be charged with practicing medicine? He wasn't saying he was a doctor, he wasn't, he didn't wear a white coat, and all these people were getting cured of cancer. I was looking at these files going, and I was a hematologist, so I was like, oh my gosh. And so I looked at the law, and it said anybody who offers to prevent, cure, or treat anything in Minnesota, it's a criminal law.
And that's why at the beginning of our show we have the disclaimer.
Yep, the disclaimer.
You know,
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Disclaimers won't help you against a criminal law. Anyway, so we got 2 hung juries on a certified question on appeal, and then they withdrew all the charges. But in that process, I was so angry that the suppression of cancer cure was being done that I wanted to go and go change that law. I thought, we have to have an exception for regular people.
Right.
I mean,
Yes, right.
chicken soup, grandma's,
Right.
And so I, and then the Healy case came up, and Jerri and I met after one of the groups were meeting against the Healy case, and that's what happened is I got involved with watching that case, and then after that happened, I got sick and collapsed for 2 years, and Jerri was one of my practitioners as a homeopath. And as I was getting well, I met everybody in Minnesota that was into health freedom. So they got me well while I was drafting a law to change. So we all worked together. We got a law going. We figured out how to lobby. I hadn't been to the state capitol since I was 8th grade on a tour. And,
Right.
Yes. So I learned how to lobby. I was a great drafting attorney, and we worked together as comrades. I tell you, we had quite a group of wonderful Minnesota activists. We met every Monday night for 4 years.
Wow.
And we passed that bill, first one in the United States to pass a safe harbor. We call it the Safe Harbor Bill. And so in Minnesota, if you are not a licensed acupuncture or whatever, chiropractor or licensed medical doctor, and you're helping a person with an ailment, we have to fill out a client bill of rights saying this is who I am, and we have to avoid a list of the legislature was really aghast because at the legislature they wanted to say, well, what can a regular person, what do they have to avoid? Well, you can't puncture the skin. You can't call yourself a doctor. So they had this list of 27 things that you can't do in Minnesota. And the legislators came up with all of those. And
are they reasonable?
They're reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
So we passed this big, long bill, which was started out to be a one-pager by me, and it ended up to be, 14 pages, or I don't know what it was at the end.
And when was that bill passed?
1999.
And what is that? Is that law still in effect?
Minnesota 146A. And then we tried to as soon as we passed that bill, we talked to Hulda Clark, Gerson Therapy, all these people said, you'll never do it, you'll never do it. And when we did it, they all started calling us saying, we want one of those in our state. So California was the first one. Actually, Rhode Island did theirs right away, and then California. And then we just started helping groups in states try to pass safe harbor bills. We got very involved in the licensed doctors who were being shut down for chelation therapy and mercury-free dentistry and all that stuff. And so we also drafted a model for the expanded practices for holistic medicine, and we worked on that for many states. But anyway, that's what we're involved in.
So
Gerson, I love Gerson Therapy.
The way it is right now, where does it stand right today?
Well, it depends on what state you're in,
Yeah,
because the criminal laws for the practice of a profession are state laws. So Minnesota, we're 146A for unlicensed practitioners of complementary and alternative medicine, and
And if I could,
California, they're all on our website.
Mhm.
All the 11 states that have passed some sort. So, like Arizona covers just has one small one for homeopaths, and they're all on our website. So the 11 states that have passed, we've been involved in being in touch with their groups, helping them draft, and right now we're working with like 8 states. Little groups of people that want to do it, but
Mhm.
it's kind of like the thing you're up against most. It's like medical people don't want it, the
Yes.
licensed people don't want it, then nobody wants this, and so it has to be a health freedom issue. Like the consumers want it; they want to go to their herbalist, they want to go to their homeopath, they want to go to their health coach,
Mm-hmm.
and that state has to decide: do they want regular people out there telling people what to do? And that's why the multi-level marketing people have such a big deal, because they can't say what their products really do. And then when they try to do that, they go under state law for practitioners, and that puts them-
Is it a First Amendment
wow.
issue? Oh, we got to go to break. God, this is Our Healthy Homes. We'll pick it up right after the messages. This is Our Healthy Homes. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194, the Healthy Home Hotline. All right, so we're speaking with Jerri and Diane, National Health Freedom Action. We were talking about the legislation and laws that have been passed, 146A. Okay, so I'm, let's just say that I'm some kind of a practitioner. I'm not, but let's say I am. And I want to, because we've had this happen where we've reached out to someone, say, you've got an interesting philosophy of health and wellness. We want you to appear on the show, and they're afraid to come on the program because they don't want somebody knocking on their door. What I'm hearing from you is that that's no longer a fear.
Well, in Minnesota, we did not change the definition of the practice of medicine. We just gave an exemption for those practitioners who are abiding by the prohibited acts and giving out their disclosures. So, for example, when you have a sick person in front of you and you say something like, oh, what should I do for my cold? Or on the radio, what should I do for an ear infection? And they say what to do. You know, you're answering a question about it, so it becomes a little bit dicey whether it's education only or whether it's practicing. So if you're just educating about stuff, you can, the science, you're listening to the science. But if somebody's in front of you and says, what do I do about this? That's when you're becoming the recommender. And it's hard to, separate out that.
You can say, look, do whatever you want.
Right.
But here's some information
Right.
that you may want to consider
Right.
before you make your decision.
Right.
I happen to have these products here in case you choose to do this. But if you don't, super duper.
Yeah.
Well, there was the one case that really affected me on the Saunders case was I was reading the research, and there was a naturopath giving an educational lecture, and someone asked him, my kid has a ear infection, could I use garlic in the ear to, which I do myself. And there was an undercover agent in the audience. They criminally charged him. He went to jail for 5 years for answering that question.
Wow.
That's because the practice of medicine was on the books, and they're trying to quash people.
So are you saying now that is not?
So in Minnesota, if that person wanted to answer that question, they should fill out the Client Bill of Rights. And
Okay.
Minnesota
So if
requires
you're gonna
you
be-
to have a Client Bill of Rights if you're talking to an individual.
So if you're going to be doing a lecture or a seminar, you would be wise to have people sign the Client Bill of Rights upon entering the hall.
If you were going to talk to them about their health issues.
You don't know what you're going to talk about.
I would, the Client Bill of Rights is the practitioner's Bill of Rights, and they give it to the
But
client.
if that's the person that's up there lecturing, the practitioner, and you've got a room full of people, I would have them sign it. I'd have them all sign it, or you can't come.
Yeah, I'm an attorney. I can't answer that question.
Well, I'm asking you as an attorney. Why wouldn't you answer the question?
I might be charged with practicing law without a license.
Oh.
I mean, it would be a good practice to get in.
I would.
Well, and there's some exemptions now on hospitals. If you're in a hospital and there's some new language. There's a couple paragraphs of new language about that. But anyway, it's worth knowing that statute inside and out if you're a practitioner.
Mm-hmm. And to protect yourself, just like when we have people come and hold events at the house, we have them sign a waiver.
Yeah, so if they fall and...
Right? Because I don't want someone slipping and falling or whatever it is, even though, won't your household insurance cover that? I don't care about my household insurance. I want a signed waiver.
Yeah. Well, one of the things about waivers, educationally, is that you can't waiver out of a criminal law.
No, obviously.
So that's why
negligence
waivers don't work on
like that,
the practice of medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
So now I would have to believe that you guys are busier. There's more awareness into what you guys do with all of the talk, right, with getting all the dyes out of the food and like it's got to be more popular now. I see it being more popular with having natural options and people wanting natural options more. Absolutely. That I believe that you guys
are you involved in that?
Well, I think that it almost works against us because 30 years ago when we were working on this, complementary and alternative healthcare was like there was very aggressive suppression of it. And as we started to help it come out of the woodwork, now it's kind of all over the place and nobody thinks they're going to get shut down. Mm-hmm. So the shutdowns, when we go into a state, it's often because some naturopath got shut down, a traditional naturopath, not a licensed naturopath. And, they've come in and raided their office and taken everything. So then they want to pass a safe harbor bill. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't seem to happen. We don't know how often it happens because we don't have a log. But it seems like because it's so popular, practitioners don't even know that they're in jeopardy. Mm. They think they can pretty much do everything because everything is natural now. I mean, it's in the culture.
Right.
Now. Sure.
You couldn't go to the Yellow Pages and look for holistic anything. 30 years ago it would be like bizarre.
And so that's a wonderful thing, how that's growing and people are growing in their awareness and their knowledge of natural things. It does make it harder to pass a bill to protect practitioners because legislators often say, well, what's the problem? Nobody's being arrested here.
Right.
But we're saying,
but the
this
law
law
is still on the books.
And so it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a really committed group of people to do it. And so now it's so available that there's not as many people trying to work on it. So the groups are littler, and they're because somebody got shut down or something, or because they're more aware. So it is a very different climate than when we first started. We worked in about 25 states at a time when we first started, and we were traveling all the time.
Wow.
Now the groups are smaller. There's online stuff. There's Zooms. It's just a very different culture.
What are the most difficult states, do you think, for a practitioner to work in?
Anybody that doesn't have a safe harbor.
Okay.
Any state that doesn't have a safe harbor, even if they don't know it's a difficult,
So are these laws that you're talking about, that 146A clarified, I'd say, are they like federal laws or are
state?
They're all state by state. So some states might not even have such a law.
No states have safe harbors except the ones we've put on our website now.
And all states have medical practice laws.
Yes. All states have medical practice laws. So this is not the dietary supplement stuff is all supplements are federal law, commerce between states. And the state laws are states regulate practitioners.
Okay.
And so we tried to figure out how to get an exemption for the Medical Practice Act criminal law passed. And it ended up to be a really long statute, but now that as we get more states going, we get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Sure.
So the last one that passed that we helped with was the state of Maine, they did a great job, of a 1-2-page statute.
Would it be helpful then to take that one now, which is
Shorter.
the shorter and more concise, and try to push that through
That's what we're trying
nationally, so it becomes a federal law?
No.
Because it has to be state.
Yep, has to be a state law.
Okay.
And you wouldn't want the federal government regulating
Right.
your practitioners in your culture. The states are very unique in their healing cultures,
Okay.
and they take a lot of pride in protecting their citizens. So it's a very big states' rights issue, and
Isn't it a First
not
Amendment
an
issue
e-commerce.
too? I see it as a First Amendment issue.
it's definitely a First Amendment issue. We put all those. We did a certified question on appeal for the Saunders case. They didn't certify our freedom of speech issue, but it's definitely a freedom of speech issue. But the regulation of health care and what a person says in health care is a very dicey issue. You want your doctor to be able to tell you anything, but the doctors don't want you to be able to say anything. There was a Supreme Court case just 6 months ago on freedom of speech and practitioner, a psychologist in Colorado. So it's starting to open up a little bit in terms of freedom of speech, but the regulatory public safety issue of a doctor speech is really public safety is a big deal for states.
What about how did it work then, like with the Native American community, the Amish community, some of these communities that this natural approach to wellness has been part of their culture since the very beginning, and now suddenly you've got the American Medical Association stepping on them because it's in their best interest to suppress that. How does that play into?
So we're going to have to answer that question when we come back.
Oh my goodness!
I knew you were not paying attention at the time.
It's because I didn't hear my music playing. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194, the Healthy Home Hotline. We're talking about the National Health Freedom Action and Coalition. I want to get to and Coalition after the break.
We got to answer that question first, and
Yes.
then we can.
Thanks for sticking around. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. Okay, we're in studio talking with Jerri and Diane about the National Health Freedom Action. When we went out to break, I was asking about various cultural groups, the Native Americans, Amish, you can go on down the list, who have a history of natural remedies, natural medicine. They had you'd go to the gal over there because she was the gal that you went to, or the guy that you went to when you were sick and not a medical doctor. And they have a culture of that. And it runs up against suddenly state law that says you can't do that anymore because that's practicing medicine. How does that play into how did that play in, and how does it play in today to this fight to bring forth more availability of natural remedies and natural medicine?
Well, I think when it first started, we had the tribal issues, and the people that were doing medicine or medicinal things that had jurisdiction by the tribes, they were protected by their tribal courts and their jurisdictions. But you're talking about Amish, they don't have the reservation. So the Amish people would, if they were a practitioner telling someone what they should do, they would have to abide by Minnesota law because that's what's said. But then we get to a state like Montana and we put a bill in, and the people that they wanted a specific exemption out. The cultural people wanted a specific exemption out of the safe harbor bill because they trusted that their jurisdictions would protect them. Their federal Indian jurisdiction would protect them. Doesn't relate to the Amish people yet either. And so that the federal tribal jurisdiction, which protects them for doing their medicine, is one thing, and if they're not under that jurisdiction and they're under state jurisdiction, they'd have to abide by whatever the safe harbor bill said. So when we got to New Mexico, we were working with them. They made a list of everybody that was protected by the safe harbor, and they just said curanderos, all of the cultural people. And we did put cultural healing in ours in Minnesota too. So if it was a cultural healing, they're protected. They just have to fill out the client bill of rights.
But the cultural, which is the same as everybody.
Yeah.
So no different. So there is no specific religious exemption, because the Amish, it's basically a religious exemption.
So many states have an exemption from the Medical Practice Act for religious freedom. So if you're practicing under spiritual prayer, Minnesota has that. Basically, all of those safe harbor exemptions for religious freedom have been passed over the last 50 years by the Christian Scientist people. So the Christian Scientists now have an exemption to the safe harbor bills, saying if we already have a spiritual exemption, we don't have to fill out the client bill of rights. So we have to work with all of those different issues when you're drafting the law, so you accommodate the religious exemption.
So how does that work in practice then? So
if you're in Minnesota, you can fill out your Minnesota 146A, or you could, if you're healing by spiritual means or prayer, laying out of hands, whatever, you could trust that you don't have to give out your Bill of Rights.
what about a Jewish community, so they're going to do a circumcision?
So a circumcision is a medical procedure. It's not under the Safe Harbor Act.
Okay.
So Safe Harbor doesn't include anything that puncture the skin, giving out.
But the rabbi does the circumcision.
Exactly, but and then he would have to have the medical practice. He would have to practice under the Medical Practice Act.
Okay. I'm guessing they don't do that.
And
we
well,
don't know.
sometimes a doctor can delegate their surgical. They can delegate any of their scope of practice properly done.
Okay. To somebody else.
Interesting.
It's a whole
To
other
somebody
thing.
else.
A whole nother
That
thing.
is okay. So you have two organizations. So what are define the two, if you can?
Well, National Health Freedom Action is the organization that's actually helping states lobby and pass legislation.
Okay.
And it's a 501c4, which is a designation that means that it does lobbying. Any donations to it are not tax deductible.
They are tax.
They are not tax deductible
Oh.
because it does lobbying.
Okay.
And then we also formed National Health Freedom Coalition, which is a sister organization, and we share a lot of the same mission and purpose. But that group does the educational work, and so donations to it are tax deductible for charitable purposes.
So how does money then get into the one that's not? When someone makes donations to the 501c4, is that right?
That's the lobbying organization.
That's a lobbying organization.
That's the hardest one to raise money for.
I bet it is.
Yeah, and I think that the supplement companies or the companies that have a mission, maybe they'll write it off as a business expense or whatever they do. They want their products or their practices protected, and they really want us to be out there on the front lines.
Right.
So they kind of give up that money.
And they want you to be doing it because they don't want to do it themselves under their name, because then they become a target.
And sometimes they don't even want to donate to us because they don't want the visibility of donating to us. And so that becomes an issue too, because we're kind of a hot button.
Yeah.
Does that still remain as being a hot button? Who's your primary? Who would you say is your primary objector?
At the legislature?
Yeah, just nationally. I mean, who would be your enemy, your adversary? I don't want to say enemy. Who's your adversary?
Any supporter of dominant medical science.
Western medicine. Western medicine. They don't want it. They don't want to see their practices eroded by these people.
Giving out prescription drugs, surgery, diagnosing diseases. That's a basic Western medicine model. And that's not something Safe Harbor can do.
And we're saying, and we've said it a lot, Western medicine is great at diagnosing.
Absolutely.
They are fabulous at diagnosing. It comes into the treatment and cure. I won't say cure, the treatment,
Yep.
and the prescribed pathways that there'll be a divergence, and they're not necessarily mutually exclusive for one another. I mean, you can do one and the other.
Absolutely.
You know, and one is, I'm going to do this because the doc prescribed this, so I'm going to take that, but then I'm going to do this over here to support that effort.
One of the things we ran into it when the bill was being passed in Minnesota, there was a chiropractor who was charged for using electrodermal screening, and that's diagnostic. In a
Wow.
way, you know, the frequency
Mm-hmm.
electrodermal screening, and his board wanted to take his license away for diagnosing with the frequency machines, and a lot of the unlicensed practitioners now use those machines as long as they're using
Yeah.
them according to FDA. But I always tell them, fill out your Minnesota Client Bill of Rights so that you can be covered for the practitioner part of that. Even if you're not diagnosing, you're telling what the machine is saying.
So even the Adobe scanner or something like that, I mean, it's almost like everyone that comes in, like I say, when they walk through the door, sign here, because you never know who's walking through the door
That's
Right.
true.
is the main thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
What do you guys need for your mission to keep going forward?
Well, we are primarily supported by donations
Okay.
of individuals, people who care about health freedom, and people who want to make sure that they have access to whatever healing resources they want. So we don't have any government funding or anything like that. And so
And
you
where
do
would they go?
fundraising?
we do fundraising.
Okay, so back to where would they go for that? And then
Yeah, the easiest way would be to go to our website. They have two websites, and you can give to either one or both organizations. So it's nationalhealthfreedom.org is the coalition, and nationalhealthfreedomaction.org is the National Health Freedom Action
Okay,
Organization.
the lobby.
Yeah, and you can just donate via the website. That's an easy way to do it.
And
And-
if you
Okay.
know attorneys that like to work for free, we're always
you're
really
always looking for that.
always looking for that.
And besides the donations, events or fundraising, do you have any fundraising coming up, or what? Tell me what a fundraising event looks like.
We don't have any fundraising events coming up.
We don't.
No.
We have one of our biggest projects, and we'll have a little bit time left.
Yeah.
Is our we're the host for the United States Health Freedom Congress, and we bring organizations from around the country into a circle. And the last one we've had was 3 years ago, and that is just a major, wonderful. We get big donors coming in and bringing all these organizations, and then we pass resolutions and design the International Health Freedom Declaration, and it's just one of our biggest projects. It's been a wonderful way to bring all of these amazing leaders in the movement together.
All right, we got to head up. That's it for this week on Our Healthy Homes. OurHealthyHomes.com, 651-775-9194. The 4 pillars of a healthy home we talk about and learn about, study. The structure, the ecosystem, your body, and your emotional and spiritual well-being. Go to OurHealthyHomes.com or give Sheila a ring-a-ling-a-ling, 651-775-9194. And remember, it's young living or assisted living. You can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts with you, and it begins right now.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. Sugar after dinner, sugar in every room. He says I'm sweet as I can be. When he calls me that name, it does things things to me. I tell him, honey, you can call me sugar.